Several centuries ago, in the old world, there flourished two neighboring kingdoms, the dwarves of Namalnur and the elves of Athel. For millennia, they lived in relative peace and harmony, but that all changed when the dwarven engineers unleashed their newest weapon of mass destruction. The newest edition of their traditional cannon had been modified to unleash flame. With their newfound power, they rashly decided that their friendly, flammable neighbors ought to be eliminated. The ensuing war lasted dozens of years. Much to the surprise of the dwarves, they were hopelessly outmanned and hilariously outgunned. The very trees came alive to fight on the side of the elves, and despite their flammability, the trees' numerical strength was near immeasurable. The elves not only reinforced their boundary, but pushed further, claiming the mountainous lands of the dwarves. Now, the dwarven kingdom lies in shambles. The riches it once held long since distributed amongst the elves, and what few dwarves live today lie spread throughout Loren, where they are treated as prisoners of a war that ended near a millennia ago. In addition to the military past, the dwarves are clumsy and lack the finesse required to hold an elven occupation. As such, they make a living in forestry, something an elf would never do, given the sacred nature of trees unto the elves.
Have you heard any news?
Indeed, I have heard that the borrower of one of Antonio's ships, his masterwork, wrecked it over in the Goodwinds, although where those are, I know not. There is always a possibility, however, that the woman who told me this was wrong, though.
Oh, please, Isha, I wish that she were lying a gossip as ever napped Ginger or made her neighbors believe she wept for the death of a third husband. But it is true. I have heard this, too, that the honest Antonio, he has been so good to us. Why should this misfortune befall him?
What were you about to say?
What are you talking about? All he lost was his masterwork, which, while so much, is only in the end a boat.
I would it might prove the end of his losses.
As do I, and here comes that demon of a dwarf. How now, Shylock? What news amongst the merchants?
You all knew, all of you, that my daughter would fly from me.
That's certain. I, for one, knew the tailor that made the wings she flew withal.
And Shylock, for his own part, knew that the bird was fledged. Then it is the complexion for them to leave the dam.
She is damned for it.
That's certain, if Kurnos be her judge.
My own flesh and blood to rebel.
Out upon it, old carrion. Rebels at it all these years.
She is my daughter.
She towers upon you like I do. But do tell, has a loss befallen Antonio? I wish I hadn't hired him. He has used all of my wood for his own selfish purposes. I care not if he refuses to fetch his own wood. I will charge him his essence. What use have you of his elvish essence? If nothing else, its power will maintain my grudge. He has dishonored me and taken a year's worth of lumber. He is amused by my losses and mocks me in my gains. What few brethren I have left are hunted by his men, and for what reason? I am a dwarf. Does a dwarf lack eyes? Does a dwarf lack hands and fingers? Does a dwarf not become sick? Are we not hurt with the same weapons? Does the purple sun of Xerxes not warm us as it does an elf? Should you stab us, shan't we bleed? Should you intoxicate us, shan't we laugh? And if you begrudge us, well, we are dwarfs.
Kim, Antonio desires to speak with thee.
We have been everywhere to look for him.
Here comes another dwarf. 'Tis rare to see so many at once.
Tell me, Trouble, has my daughter been spotted?
I often came where I did hear of her, but I cannot find her.
I am in disbelief that she would take all of my precious spirit wood. Years of collection, gone.
Yes, but elves are real luck too. I've heard from many that Antonio
Explain.
has had his masterwork shipwrecked.
Truly?
I spoke with the dwarven cook who escaped the wreck. As for why elves would hire a dwarven cook, I know not.
Tubal, my friend, you have lessened the blow.
I have also heard that your daughter has used all of your spirit wood and paid the grand mage to change her to an elf.
All of my spirit wood? How could she do such a thing? I will be eating rats for the rest of my days.
Many of Antonio's accomplices have come to me and said that he will need to erect a new ship by any means necessary.
He will expend the wood I have given him. He will be forced to repay me in his essence.
I was also shown a runic ring that she traded for a cloak.
The runes on that ring bound me to Leia. I would not have traded it for a wardrobe of clothes.
But Antonio is certainly undone.
That is true. Tubal, fetch me a mage who can extract Antonio's essence. I will have my grudge maintained.